Hello, everybody, and welcome to Segue, Sunday. From here on in, we're just going to be calling it Segue Weekends. So it's Segue Sunday, Saturday, whatever the weekend day we can get together. This will allow us the maximum flexibility of being able to get the live shows out to people. Hopefully, we'll find out which day works better. Some weekends, Joel is available on Sunday. Some days he's only available on Saturday. So I figured we'd just shift it back and forth until we can reach the largest audience possible. And another little change we're going to be doing is the segue patches, instead of just talking about the week prior, because some weeks, just like this week, thankfully, nothing major metaphysical happened. At least nobody's told me anything. And so I haven't had to work on anything except normal stuff like going to the YMCA, doing my job, taking care of the kids. And I'm grateful for that. Not that I try to avoid metaphysical stuff, but it's just one more thing on top of my weeks that usually makes me have to work a little harder than normal. And I welcome it, but not every single day of the week, if you know what I mean. So today we're going to discuss keeping children safe from the paranormal, and starting with the basics of what it is and what it means for a child to be going through this. And I've got lots of experience with this, way more than I like. And Aisha can tell you about her children and how they went through it and how they came to her. And I will be talking about the steps that you need to go through, and also some of the evidence that I've collected from cases from around the world where parents didn't listen, didn't try anything, didn't try to keep children safe. And I'll do my best to find links to put in the low bar to examples throughout history. But probably one of the biggest ones that we've already covered was in a haunting in Connecticut, where I've forgotten the name of the family. In any case, the eldest son was trying to keep the family safe from a dark creature that was in the funeral home. And the funeral home was converted into a rental, and they were never told that the place was a funeral home. And they moved into it. The eldest boy, who was going through cancer treatments at the time, was close to the veil and announced to the parents what he was seeing, and they poo-pooed it, even though they were actually experiencing it themselves. And I believe until the father was sodomized, they didn't actually take the son. The Snedekers, finally remembered. The Snedekers didn't believe or want to believe. And that is probably one of the biggest things that you have to get past in order to keep your children safe. Getting past your own bias, especially if you can't see these things. It's easy to dismiss a child that wants to feel safe at night and sees things. And you will think that it's simply them trying to get attention. But why? Why would a child, knowing that they're only going to get into trouble, especially if you're the kind of parent that raises a hand to your children, why would they risk this? For attention? Negative attention is still attention, some psychiatrists and psychologists say. But that's not the kind of attention the child would be looking for, especially not if they know that they're going to be beaten on. They just want to feel safe. So, opening up the floor to it. Hi, everybody. We actually got the whole gang here except for Diane today, which I think Diane is working again. You can all unmute yourselves.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Joel.
Hello.
So how was everybody's week?
Tiring as
Okay.
usual.
Mine was great.
What's that clicking?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm clipping my daughter's toenails.
Ah, that's loud.
That's okay.
That's really loud. It sounds like somebody. It sounds like somebody smacking a piece of metal on a board. Okay. So
I recognize that as being a CNA, having to clip people's toenails.
Yeah, she got some thick toenails here, and it's been about 3 weeks since I got to them, so I got to do the manicure and pedicures to everybody in the house today.
I'm coming over.
if the nails get too thick, soaking in Epsom salts, which is magnesium, causes them to soften up some and can make them stay soft. Magnesium is a fantastic mineral, especially for people who are stressed. Taking more internally is actually how you get your heart rate to come down and relax muscles and help the heart beat evenly. The whole idea of actually us consuming too much salt is a farce. What's one of the paleobiologists were actually showing that we used to consume when we were hunter-gatherers over, I think it's 10 times as much protein and approximately 20 times more salt, sodium, than we're actually currently consuming. And they found no evidence in paleo corpses of atherosclerotic plaques. So do with that as you will. That's a fact. When someone says that you have to blame a natural substance that is a necessary mineral that goes into your system for a problem, like salt, somebody somewhere ain't doing their homework. And for those of you who live near the ocean, here's a fantastic example. You ever go out into the surf and you took too many dunkings and you swallowed some ocean water, and about an hour later you're like, oh, hot damn, I got to go to the bathroom like crazy, and you just keep evacuating diarrhea? That's what happens if you get too much of any given mineral. Your body just goes, okay, we don't need this.
Welcome to Life Hacks with Ian on Segue Sundays.
With sound effects and everything.
Well, that's sound effects. That was just me doing the old cheek fart. If we were doing sound effects, I'd have a soundboard where I just hit a button and it goes like with Family Guy, weenie and the butt. Remember that?
That's funny. That's exactly what I was thinking as soon as you said it.
Weenie. Well, that's because you and I are connected. It's not like I surprise you with stuff.
Nah. So we were talking about how to keep kids safe. Well, so like for me, when I was having my youngest daughter was coming to me and she was experiencing things and having images of the natives where we used to live up in Oregon. We used to live up in Tillamook, Oregon, and we would drive through certain parts of the area of Tillamook County, and she would have crazy images and tell us about memories of when she was a little girl and her village and things that happened in that area and how some people were dying and stuff like that. We never discouraged it. We never did say that's their imagination. We listened to her and we would ask questions so she can explore, she can express what she was saying. And, then we would tell her, like, if that stuff ever gets scary, just let us know. And it never did. And I think part of the reason is, as a parent, me and my wife, Melody, we would ask those questions and we were have her explore what she was experiencing. So even if it was imagination, she could still get that out. And she knew that no matter what she said, we would listen and wouldn't just disregard her about those stories.
To quote Dumbledore, just because it's happening in your head, it doesn't make it not real, Harry. And that was at the end of the Deathly Hallows. The reality is that a great percentage of what clairvoyants see happens in their head. And one of the things that I learned as I was getting older is these things would try to hide and try not to be discomforting to me, but it would turn to something that I was seeing inside my head instead, because the energy is going to express itself. They just don't know you're going to pick it up.
Well,
and that would be like when I was near the site where all the beheadings happened by the Thames. Sorry, go ahead, Joel.
Well, even like physical pain, those are sensations that are signals, chemical signals that sent to the brain from our nerve endings from a different part of our body, and our brain interprets it. So you could say everything that we experience, even exists in itself, is all in our head. Our brain just takes those signals and put it together so we can understand it. So there's that. But hey.
And a great example of a parent keeping their children safe also is Aisha with her daughters, especially when she told me about the lady in the ceiling fan. That one was really, that one still freaks me out because being able to go back and see that, being able to go back and seeing this happening because it was a stored memory that Jemima was able to feed me. I'm like, wow, that's just all kinds of wrong.
I haven't heard this story yet.
Oh, Aisha's got to tell it. This one's amazingly bad because this is the reason why, I think one of the reasons why Aisha wanted to get her vision back. And we're grateful to help her work it back to where it was. Aisha, could you tell this story?
I would love to get my vision back. I can help her. That way she don't go through that alone. You know, at least it's good that I'm not one of those parents who act like I don't believe it. So I can say that much. But once I get my vision back, I'll be able to help a lot better. But you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've just muted myself so I don't interrupt.
Yeah, but that was just in the old house that we was in, you know, and she was a child at the time, 1, maybe 2 at the most. I think it was still at 1, but she could talk at the time, but she would not go. She didn't want to go in the room, and she was like one of those cartoon characters when you're trying to go in the room and they spread their arms across the doors and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute, why are you grabbing the door? Well, you can't go in. And she's telling me how scared she is to go in that room. And I'm like, why? What's going on? And she point and then close her eyes tight, you know, because she didn't want to look again. It was frightening to her. And she pointing at the ceiling. And I'm like, you see something up there? You know, a lady. She in a tree. You look like a tree. A lady, a tree with eyes. You know. I'm like, okay. You know. So I get up there with a broom on the bed and start swinging. I say, am I hitting her? You know, and then she just started laughing, started feeling a little comfortable. I said, well, come on in the room. Nope. It doesn't matter how comfortable she felt. Nope, I'm not coming in that room. So I had to sleep in a different room with her. I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I didn't know what was going on until I met you and talked to you about it. And, you know, you and I both were trying to figure out why this woman was in the shape of a tree. And I was telling you about this house behind me the entire time that I lived there. They had people passing by showing their ex-girlfriends, showing their new girlfriends or wives, whatever that they're dating, that this is the house they grew up in and that it was haunted. And they was asking me about the people who live there, you know, the one who was renting at the time. Did they ever tell me anything about it being haunted or whatever? I said, no, you know, they in and out of jail, so they don't really stay there much. You know, I doubt if they come back this time. I think the police took them for the last time this time. But when they were telling me about it, my husband and I used to laugh at them. You know, it was haunted. I hear you. I say, so they take their woman on a haunted house tour and they bring them here and, you know, decide they want to ask us about it. I don't know. No, I don't live back there, so I've never had any problems. Oh man, after that storm came, Hurricane Katrina, and it knocked that tree down, because one of the guys sit here and told his woman that tree that was standing there looks like a Christmas tree. It's like a little pine tree or something there, but it's shaped like a Christmas tree, perfectly shaped like a Christmas tree, like somebody actually trims it. But he sit here and told her that he planted that tree when he was a child, but it was a huge tree. And after the storm, the tree fell down on my my gate and bent my gate and everything. So that's what the lady looked like. Whoever it was that was in their house haunting them came into my house, but she came over on a tree, so she looked like a tree. And it was shocking when you actually told me that that she looked like a tree when Jemima showed her to you. And I was like, oh, okay. And so that's what made you ask me to put my daughter on the line so she can explain to you how she looked. And she was like, yep, she looked like a tree.
It's because she used the shadow of the tree to get across the property. So she held on to the look of the shadow of the tree.
Yeah, that was weird. I sure wish I could have helped her, to see these things myself. I wonder if at that time she was capable of seeing Jemima around,
It would have been nice if she had been able to tell you about it. But she might have thought. Got to remember, Jemima looks an awful lot like a family member of all of yours. So
Yeah.
she might have just thought it was an aunt.
Okay.
And Jemima is just really super sweet, except of course for when the goat was in the house. Oh my God. I didn't put it together that you meant 4 feet running behind you. There was 4. There was a set of 2 kids running. I thought you just meant 1 child running around behind you. It's like there's a goat in the house. When did Aisha get a goat? Right. Sorry. All the weirdest stuff happens to you. Really, that's just it's all kinds of wrong. I thought it's like Aisha got a goat. Well, maybe she'll get fresh milk, and then it stood up. It's like, nope, no fresh milk
Always,
here.
but I'm trying to be nice too. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice each time.
That's how people gets in. And this is how it happens to Diane too. Diane doesn't invoke. You have to have good hospitality means you can't bring crap with you, and that's the thing is when someone comes in the house that you tell them you leave your evil at the curb. You tell them that you say if you got anything evil, you leave it at the curb, and you're welcome in the house. And that's proper hospitality. That means that they'll come in just by themselves. None of their issues come with them. But yeah.
By her being young, I doubt if she would have known how to leave her evil at the curb.
Well, you just tell her that, and it automatically would occur anyway. It's an invocation of hospitality, but it's not a matter of her doing it consciously. Anyway, that's one of the ways to keep children safe, especially from other kids who have paranormal abilities that they don't even know that they're expressing. In Harry Potter, they call them obscurials.
Anytime I walk anybody across my threshold into my house, I am to say that,
yes.
Before you come in here, make sure you leave. You are welcome, but any evils you have hooked up to you, you leave them at the curve.
Curb, yeah. If you tell them, say you're welcome here, but any evils, wipe your feet and come on in and leave your evils at the curb.
As a matter of fact, instead of getting a welcome mat, that's what people need to put on the mat.
Yeah, there's a lot of really nice ones that they make that have admonishments like that. You're welcome here. The name of hospitality. But leave your evils at the curb. There's a lot of them, of different kinds that you can go to most metaphysical shops, or even don't have to go to a metaphysical shop. You can just look online, and they have lots of really neat invocations, both pagan and Christian, and just pick the one that you want. Put it in your house. Also, talismans for the kids. Getting them in order to keep them safe as well as yourself is a really good idea.
Okay.
I don't know if Joel did you ever give any to the kids, or did you just? He's AFK.
Talismans? No, I never did. They never seem to bring anything back with them. Like usually, the one thing that would happen would be I would be working with Reiki in the extra room or something like that, and things would just come through. But usually, before and after I did Reiki, and for a while there, I was doing it pretty regularly. You would clear the house, or you would clear the working area. So, I think that just kind of naturally kept my living area pretty clear.
I'm sure Sonia's feeling left out. She's had last week. All I did was poke fun and make her giggle because she was having such a hard couple of weeks. Are you sleeping better now that Dumbledore's back in Hogwarts?
Nope.
No? You didn't tell your dad?
We did, but he's doing the same thing. He's pretty much waking up at the exact same time as I am. And my dad's trying to figure it out why.
Well, then that means Dumbledore's on the case. Everything will be fine. My worries are gone.
Literally, my dad will come in and goes, "Oh, you're awake as well." It's like, yeah. It's like, And he goes, right, I'm going to figure this out.
Well, he doesn't quite say it like that. He
up.
sounds like the like the Cornish guy from that played Argus Filch in Hot Fuzz.
Oh my god, I love that movie. Best reference ever.
Well, he doesn't sound Cornish. It's the same difficulty understanding him, except for you.
I can perfectly understand him. So can my mum.
Well, that's you two, okay?
You just went total snatch on us for a second there, like Brad Pitt character. I thought you was trying to get me to give you a caravan that was periwinkle blue for your mom.
I couldn't understand it for like 2 seconds. There's like,
I know. That's what.
What? Like trying to get my son to actually make. Wakes up in the morning. How's a what, son? I don't understand. It, half asleep alien. So.
I've been at work today, so you're probably going to get a lot of that. I feel like I'm trying to break in somebody else's teeth.
Like, are we wearing our own teeth today, Sonia?
Well, I hope so, because they're all real.
Then there is hope. Oh, metaphysical jokes.
As long as you're in your own skin, everything's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Why be normal when you can be paranormal?
A paranormal what? Sorry. Dad jokes coming at you.
I found a bunch of coffee cups that I put on for the Paranormals and Coffee thing as the thumbnails. I'm going to be replacing them eventually, but I found some really funny paranormal coffee cups. They're just hilarious. Just the sayings are just dang stupidly funny. I was chuckling over them. I tried to show Karen many of them. Like one of them says, I might look like I'm listening to you, but in my head, I'm ghost hunting. And another one, deja brew, the feeling you've had this coffee before.
Oh my God.
Why be normal when you can be paranormal?
Yeah. Yes.
This paranormal investigator runs on coffee.
Damn, where'd you find all those at?
Well, I just
that won't work for me. I don't drink coffee.
What's that?
She doesn't drink coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
I wouldn't expect you
the
to.
taste of it.
I've heard that saying before, and then I fed someone Cuban coffee, and they're like, "Oh my God, this is the best stuff ever!" It's like, yeah, but you're not going to go to sleep tonight.
My dad's tried it. Give me some. I still don't like it. I don't like the taste of it.
It's perfectly okay.
Figgy.
If you got fed Cafe Bustelo, I would definitely hate it too. There's 2 Cuban coffees out there, and you either like one and you like one and hate the other, or you love them both.
Yeah, like
so I'm pretty sure if he
really
threw Cafe Bustelo at you, and then you're not going to like it. It's not very rich. Anyway, so some of the other methods that Aisha used to keep her kids safe, which were stuff that she gleaned from all the different videos we were doing way back 2 years ago, were putting up elemental crosses and protecting and sealing different doors and areas. Tell us about that, Aisha.
What are you talking about? The things that you told us to put outside with the little cross sticks or whatever, with all the elements on it, and put it under the ground, and put the seal over the house? Yes, I did all that. I wrote down that, I even bought the talisman that you were talking about. I wrote down everything. At the time, I was so afraid. I made sure I did everything that you said, and that's why I'm taking notes now. When you sit here and talk about tell them to leave their evils at the door. Yeah, I take notes of everything you guys said, even when you were talking about when you're traveling, how to pay homage to each state that you go into, to let the ghosts know that I'm just passing through. I'm not trying to take anything while I'm going through here, and just keep on going. Everything that you guys teach is a blessing, and I'm trying to learn as much as I can to keep myself safe from things unseen, because people don't recognize that it doesn't matter what you do in your life. You can walk around thinking that your life is just perfect or whatever. There's a lot of elements of things, seen and unseen, that could actually change your life and cause havoc in your life and you not know that it's there. So people like you guys are needed in everyone's life, for people to call when they see that something is going wrong and they can't explain exactly why these things are going wrong. Because sometimes things can go wrong within you, and you not see anything, you not hear anything. You could just feel it, and start feeling depressed of your own self. So, and
And this goes double for kids.
Yeah, but as I was looking up on Google just now, I was trying to see if I could find one of those mats that you were talking about, to see if I can see if I can find a mat that has it already written on there, to leave your evils at the door. I'm looking at this mat that say the neighbors have better stuff.
Don't rob. The neighbors got better stuff. I like that. Wow.
I'm looking it up on Google. I said, "Oh Lord, they know they're wrong for this. The neighbors have better stuff."
Hells yes.
See, well, how do you do that? How do you do that to a ghost, though? It's like we're all as metaphysical as chickens. The neighbors are they do more than us. I don't know that you can't really send them next door when something's coming after you.
I think I have it. So what you do is you take like a rock or something natural, and then you charge it full of energy, and you make like a link with the local ley line, and you put it at the neighbor's house you don't like. It makes it a big, nice beacon, so everybody can go over there and leave your shit alone. There you go, Sean. That's your answer.
Oh my God, that is so. Yeah, that's so wrong. It's like here. I'm throwing a metaphysical grenade in the neighbor's backyard. So you know I hate you, but you're not going to be able to catch me.
Sorry.
That is so wrong.
Can we go back and edit that out for the people?
No, because this is live.
No.
This ain't Memorex. Cue the guy sitting in his chair with his tie being blown back to Ride of the Valkyrie. Ba, 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 ba. No, we can't go back on that one. So, Christ. My God, that's spirits within type crap right there, and you drop the bomb on your neighbors. For those of you who don't know the movie I'm talking about, you need to go watch Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within to understand exactly what Joel's describing there. It's like, hey, we're going to throw this one in your backyard. Everybody go over there.
Yeah, I could be a little devious.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm thinking about Eddie Griffin. It's like, roll around. You be all right.
Nah, son. Not after one of those.
Oh, my God. Meanwhile, the whole family's on metaphysical fire. God, people are going to think we're just cruel. Jeez. It's like, did you catch the latest show? They're sadistic pigs.
So one of the things I do too is I like to put obsidian under the windows, or certain crystals I use for shielding and guarding. So I think I have like a crystal almost under each window of my house. So there's at least 1 to 2 crystals in each room, and that kind of keeps everything up. And I think I've been doing that ever since I was in the military. So
you know what that
helps out.
Sorry, that reminds me of something. Dream catchers for when they sleep. That's another good one. But the other one is prisms. If you can get crystal prisms and put them in the windows too. See, that one's another one. Crystal prisms cause evil when it tries to enter through that aperture to disperse. Basically, they can't hold themselves together. I forgot about that one. Oh my gosh, how did I forget about that one? That was one that we looked up when way back in the 90s. We were looking up stuff, and that was one of the things that they were talking about. And in a couple of books that we had, especially one of those shamanic books, where this guy was talking about people's shamanic experiences that had no formal shamanic training, but just happened to naturally learn this stuff. Farmers, housewives, etc. And this is one of the things that they discovered. But not lead glass. It's got to be like carved crystal ones. It actually has to be crystal ones.
Cue crickets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
everybody's
still
got
crazy. These crazy mats. One of them say, "Oh shit, not you again." I'm like,
Oh
"Oh
God,
Lord,
no!
I got to get this one." Oh man! And the one say, "Friends, well, relatives by appointment." Oh man.
There has to be some good ones out there. There's some good metaphysical ones. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'm still trying to find the real one. These other ones are just making me laugh as I'm looking for it. But I need, most of the time I'm not going to actually remember, to say that when inviting somebody in. And not only that, especially if they're an adult, you don't want to make them feel bad by saying stuff like that to them, and they looking at you like you're crazy, you know, trying to respect them. But hey, I got to find a way to make sure that's being said anytime anybody come across my door cell now.
Oh my!
Mainly after a child brought something in. Oh, 11 years old. Oh man, I really have to say that now.
well,
I just found one that is really neat. It actually has several. This is not going to make you very popular, but it has quite a few symbols of protection from the Solomon's Keys. 3 of them, in fact. Let me see if I can't get a bigger picture, and I'll put it up here. Let me share this. Screen share. Application window. Supernatural. Welcome, Matt. Here we go. Check that out.
Okay. So you don't really have to say anything. Just have that welcome mat and those things on there.
Yep. This is the symbol of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh. Basically, this is the invocation of God. This is God's first name here. That's why it looks like a J. Wow. That's, my goodness. This is actually one of the most active doormats I've ever seen. Dude, I want this one for mine. Oh, that one's all kinds of wrong.
Okay, where do you find that?
This one's on Etsy.
Put the link.
Okay, but this one's a bad one. You knocked, we came. Come on, that was a pretty good pinhead.
That was really good.
I saw that. I saw it. Yeah, no. They put their heart in that one.
Wow. Okay, so let's see if I carry on my way.
What did you type in to find that in Este?
Etsy. Let me copy and paste it. I'm going to put it right into. Let's see. Stop screen sharing, and I will put this on in the chat box right here.
I don't know if you saw, but there was one with Pennywise on it.
I've seen one with the Borg. There's a Pikachu, Deathly Hallows.
It's a thumbnail up at the top.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, don't even get me started on about Pennywise.
Oh, welcome. You'll float too.
We were trying to raise some money, and our balloons were red, and they wanted me to dress up as a clown.
Yes, okay.
At work.
And you called me
red
wrong.
Balloons.
Yeah, I'm not a colorophobe. I'm not afraid. You guys are all afraid of clowns. I'm not afraid of clowns.
Yeah, they wanted me to hand red balloons to children.
Yeah, dressed as Pennywise the clown. That's not going to go over big. People are going to be walking up and crying. No, I don't want to take the balloon, Mommy. Seriously, if a kid gets scared of something, don't shove them at the thing. This has nothing to do also with just being metaphysical. But sometimes, and this is, you know what, I'm going to talk about a very personal issue while everybody else is discussing the welcome mat in the background. My family used to think that they needed to toughen me up. So they would put me places where I told them things were, please don't put me in there. Don't lock me in. I wasn't saying it to be like reverse psychology crap. I'm 3 years old. But my brother and sister would lock me in closets. My dad was big about tying me up and throwing me into them. And by tying me up, I mean he'd get belts and ties, tie me down and throw me in. Now, I was very lucky in my own closet at home because the first thing that I saw there was actually something friendly, but I didn't know. This is another thing, too. Children cannot differentiate between good and bad at first because these things, they don't know how to appear if they're there to help. Their natural state can be frightening. Just because something is frightening to look at doesn't make them actually dangerous. Take, for example, the elemental pyre, which was the first one to ever of my friends to come to me. And I say friends because that's what they were. These are guardians of my family. They've been following and protecting for a long time. And he poked his head out of my closet to check on me, and it scared me horribly. If anybody's ever seen Scooby-Doo and the 10,000 volt ghost, you have an idea what this thing looks like. And that scared me terribly. I'm a kid, and almost all the metaphysical references that I'd ever had were just negative, whether it was Scooby-Doo or monster movies, Godzilla. Hammer horror films will give you nightmares if you're under the age of 10. They're just designed that way. Don't even get me started on the fact that they do it well on a budget, okay? They're Hammer horror films. They're meant to be that. And later on, when you get older, you realize, oh, these are schlocky. They're not that bad, because they put the schlock factor in for you to grow to appreciate. But they're done by legendary actors who can emote enough feeling to scare the daylights out of you. And so you have to, when the kids say, don't do this, you're not toughening them up. Okay, if this wasn't made extremely clear by the character of Cole in The Sixth Sense, let me tell you what that's like. It's worse than it looks like in the films, okay? It's way worse. When my brother shoved me down the coal scuttle and I was beaten on, my mom thought it was me just getting bruised going down a smooth slide. How do you get bruised going down a smooth slide? Okay, that doesn't happen. I'm serious. It doesn't happen. Oh, you must have been bruised when going down. What? Are you serious? Is that how you explain it to yourself? If you have to do mental gymnastics to excuse bad behavior to your child who's telling you, begging you, please don't expose me to this thing that I'm terrified of. Don't. I see examples of this also when I go to the YMCA. My father, his idea of teaching me how to swim was to try and let me drown in 12 feet of water at the YMCA in Hawthorne, California. As I understand it, that pool is gone now. There was a 12 and a 20-foot deep one for diving practice. But that was his idea of toughening me up.
You know, when we was kids, that was a common way to teach people how to swim. Because I remember they taught my brother to swim that way. They didn't teach me how to swim that way. And I didn't get over my fear of water until I was like in middle school. And they didn't quite do it that way, but it was pretty close. You know, they gave me these styrofoam buoys and it was like, hey, hold on to this, jump in. And, you know, granted, I was like probably like 80, 90 pounds, and these things I didn't realize could hold me up. But it took a long time before I realized that those things could hold me up. But yeah, I distinctly remember them throwing my brother in the pool as a child in the YMCA to teach him how to swim. And that was one of the things that they did in the class as well, to teach kids how to swim. Just saying.
And 20 or 30,000 lawsuits later, with kids nearly drowning, they learned their lessons. It's the same kind of thing with the metaphysical. If a child is telling you there's something dangerous there, mommy, daddy, I see this. What does it hurt to let the child sleep somewhere safe? Let me tell you, it takes no energy for you to go sleep with them and protect them. None whatsoever. My youngest in our current place where we're living now was having to deal with his bedroom having a terrible energy from the lady who used to live there. Used to live here, rather, I should say. Her energy lingered. She's still alive, by the way, but she's Medusa. There we go. And so because of that, her energy lingered. She was just that bad of a person. Everybody I spoke to talks about how she used to stay in that room. She didn't like to come out, got her meals served in there. She did all of her business in there, even though right next to the room, there's the bathroom. You literally walk right out that door. It's just to the left. All you got to do is walk out one door and directly into the left one, and you're in the bathroom. And this woman used to spend all of her time in there and was just horrible about everybody and didn't want to see anybody, so her energy lingered, and he picked that up. And I kept burning it out. But it's simply just pervasive. And so eventually I just slept in the bedroom with him until my energy eventually overwrote everything. And he was able to finally get rest and sleep. So you have, and unfortunately, I was a little too late, but he's not sleeping on his face. Now he sleeps completely covering himself so that he doesn't see the lady walking around the room because of her energy. The energy is burned out, but he still instinctively covers himself completely with his quilt and goes to sleep that way. So I know, unfortunately, that he has my same gifts, and he's a little too sensitive for his own good. But another thing that you can give the children, if you don't want to give them a talisman or a necklace, all right, certain stuffed animals, especially, and I know I'm going to be giving a lot of business to people who probably don't deserve it, Build-A-Bear. Go and build the bear with your child, okay? Make sure that the child, that when they get to the heart and they tell them to rub the heart all over them, that they rub the heart all over you too, okay? You would say, here, I want to rub it all over me so that you have some of mommy or daddy. You know, our love goes into this and goes into the teddy bear to protect you. And it works, okay? Believe me, because we got one secondhand that was with a child that when they were dying of cancer, and this bear is Eric's favorite, and it's his talisman against the night. He sets it up next to him, sleeps with him in his arms, and he's always he feels safe. He wakes up, he doesn't cry or complain. Of course, I burned out the negative energy, but he feels that much safer because just contact with the energy from that makes him feel better. It's not just my child has his whoopee or it is the energy that comes off of Joey Bear. And so you can do that as well as a talisman to protect the child. Sorry, somebody unmuted because they wanted to say something. Did you want to say something, Aisha, or do I cue the crickets?
Cue frogs croaking.
I didn't know it was me unmuted until I looked down and recognized my thing was blanking on here.
I'll get crickets and toads, or we'll get that. So we'll put that on the soundboard. So
if any of you guys out there listening have that right now, if you could send it to us right now, that'd be awesome.
Send us a link.
That kind of reminds me of my sister's real dad's mum. She thought, because Anita's allergic to E numbers and Johnson's, it's a baby like shampoo and stuff. She thought actually giving it to her or putting it on her skin will make her being allergic to it go away. Like,
I am curious how we got there from where I started.
It's like you were saying with Thing being locked up. She thought she could, but must admit, this is the same woman who thought potty training a child, tying them to the toilet until they learn how to use the toilet would work.
Wow.
I
understand where. Yeah, I got the connection, Sonia. I got the connection.
And my sister comes out with John.
Yeah, that would be pretty much the same thing. The physical equivalent of exposing your child to something harmful to their skin because you think it's going to do them better to toughen them up. It would be the same thing as exposing them to something that they're afraid of. They can
My sister literally, if you put like Johnson's on her skin, her arm just bubbles up in like blisters and they pop, so it looks like somebody's literally burnt her with cigarettes.
Yeah, that's nasty. But it's a good a good metaphor.
But yeah, it's just like seriously.
Yeah, so don't expect to toughen your kid up out of this. It's not going to happen. Same thing for the skin allergies. The only thing you're going to do is hopefully get yourself thrown in jail because you're a horrible parent. It's the same kind of thing for almost anything the child's going to be exposed to. You can't get the child to stop being afraid of stuff that they can feel, sense, and bangs on them. All right, let me give you a fantastic example. All right, when I'm near ghosts that want to remain hidden, which are angry with me or negative towards me. My whole life, I've gotten this fluttery feeling in my gut. Like, you know, when you're about to go and perform, you're going to go on stage and you get that stage fright. That's caused by adrenaline, right? And my body responds to this day with adrenaline when I'm near ghosts, and I get that fluttery feeling in my stomach because I know I'm being watched and they're trying to stay hidden. Because of it, and this is, I'm going off on a tangent slightly, because of it, I actually learned how to pull them into view. We'll talk about that another day. That's a lesson for another time. But that fluttery feeling was my first signal that I knew I was in trouble because something was watching. The first time I ever got it in a major way was when I tried to avoid using the upstairs bathroom at my Aunt Celia's house, because that's where the old woman was in her room that would constantly look at me like she wanted me to die, the ghost. So Harry Potter ain't got nothing on me, because there was the restroom underneath the stairs where I used to go. At first, I always felt like I was being watched, but after 2 or 3 times using this restroom under the stairs instead of the back restroom towards the patio, I started realizing that there was something that would follow me in there because it was always unnaturally cold. And my brother kept on barging in while I was trying to use the toilet peacefully. He thought it was funny. And so I finally just said to heck with it and locked the door. Now, imagine an old-fashioned key and lock. You know, the old kind that had a skeleton key. That's what all the locks in the house had the original keys and the original locks. Every door. There was a set of keys that would unlock everything. Now, the one underneath the bathroom, sorry, under the stairs, had one of these old ones constantly in the lock, so you could lock it and unlock it. And I had learned how to lock it and unlock it by playing with it when the door was open. Because I wanted to make sure I could get in and out and keep my brother from coming in. And I go in, I lock the thing down, and I seat myself on the toilet, and I'm finished, and I want to get out, and I go to unlock the thing, and I turn the lock correctly to unlock it, and it's like trying to turn it past, I don't know, it was like I was going to snap the key. And I suddenly felt something staring over my shoulder. And I looked back at the wall behind me. There was nothing. And I kept trying to unlock it. And I started crying for help. Somebody come and unlock it. So my mom comes to the door and says, "Why did you lock it?" I said, "To keep Rick out, because he won't leave me alone when I'm using the toilet." And she starts admonishing Rick, who's laughing on the other side of the door because I can't get out because he thinks it's funny. And she says, "Well, take the key out and slide it under the door." Okay, so I try that. This thing, no matter which way I turn it, and I'm lining it up, this thing won't come out. And the presence is getting heavier behind me. And that fluttery feeling is getting worse. And I can't get the thing out of the lock. I can't unlock it. And I turn and look again, only this time I look at the mirror over the sink. And it's actually high above the sink. And there was a man staring down at me with really dark eyes and an angry look like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And murder with it was just, I freaked out and I started banging on the door to try and get out, let me out. And I knew if I told my mom that there was somebody, that I saw someone in the mirror, I knew what kind of a response I was going to get. And she says, "Just take the bloody key out and slip it under the door." And instead, I pushed against the point where I knew that it might snap, and click, it opened, and finally threw the door open and threw myself out. My mom grabbed me and pushed me back into the bathroom, and I kicked her in the leg as hard as I could and threw myself past her. And that, because I'm not going under there ever again. That was the last time I ever used that restroom. And my mom, when she demanded that I explain it to her, I didn't. Because I knew what kind of a response I was going to get, because I knew what kind of response it had gotten when Rick told her about the lady upstairs. It was all in my bloody imagination. You know how Sean's imagination works. It's not their imagination, folks.
Most adults do that to children because they already be going through enough in life, dealing with normal life things that they have to deal with. So they don't want that extra added problem dealing with their children. and they don't recognize that doing that to children already in the supernatural before your children even walk out the door makes it even harder when your children walk out the door and with those people who you call uncle, auntie, grandpa, and who's doing things to them, and they can't tell you that these people are doing things because you already didn't listen to them the first time when they told you about the paranormal that was in the house before they stepped out the door. So it makes it easy for people to take your children and control your children and do things to your children and have your children to be quiet for years because of how you treat them at the beginning. There's people who actually go around trying to figure out which parents still discipline their children, like back in the days, as far as whipping them hard or whipping them for anything any adult come and say or whatever. Because at the Blue House, the one where you got the other ghosts out, there was an older guy across the street come knock on my door one day and was telling me about my children climbing up on the metal rod that's on his porch or whatever. I say, yeah, they do that over here too. And he was saying, well, I'm not, because I called them to me, and they said, oh, and the first thing he said is, well, I'm not telling the guy, I don't want you to do anything. And this, and that. Oh, no. Once I sit up here and told him, well, no, I'm not one of those type parents that, beat on my children for minor things like that. No, because I used to climb up those poles myself when I was a child. It's just that I'm just going to let them know that we got some over here. If y'all want to climb up the poles, do it at your own house. Don't do it over there at his house, stuff like that. So when you tell adults things like that, immediately they stop coming to rat on your children about things. It lets you know that they never cared about the children climbing up the poles in the first place. They just want to find out exactly what type of parent you are, whether you're going to yell and hit them and stuff like that. And that's when they learn to control you. Because they had a guy try that with me when I was a child. When I started growing hairs down there, my mother used to tell it to all the women in the family. And my youngest aunt, who actually was just a year older than me, she would sit in the kitchen with the adults and listen to these things. And I'm trying to figure out why she's not outside with the children playing, why she's listening to adult things. And I'm telling my mother, please stop telling these people my business. I'm telling these people when I start my period, anything, because I notice you guys do that to everybody else. You got to announce when we start growing hair, announce when we start bleeding, and and I understand it's just the women that you guys are talking to, but there's a child in the midst of you guys, and you are not telling her to leave. Because why? Because she's she's your sister. I understand she's your sister. It's not my problem that your mother was still getting her groove on at the same time that you guys were having your children. She needs to get out of that kitchen. She's our age, because she comes out here and start teaching us or telling us things that you guys are saying, and I don't like it. So what she wanted to do is, at that time, she's my aunt. So at that time, she wanted to see my hair, that my mother had just announced to them about, me growing hair now. So we up an alley, and one of the areas half a block away from my grandmother's house, and we done pulled our clothes down because she wants to show her hair and she wants to see my hair and stuff like that. So there's this guy who usually comes to our family get-togethers with my cousin. And my cousin, it was a year older than me too. He's a guy who, one of those bright skinned cute guys, he always bringing different girls to the family get together. So the guys who hang with them love to come to the family get togethers, because that's the only way they can get as close as they can to all these beautiful women that my grandmother had. She had 10 children, only 2 of them were boys, and all the women were beautiful. And all the nieces and nephews that they have, children that they have, turn out beautiful. And in order for people to get close to us, they got to use family members to get in. He happened to see us a little bit up the alley, and he sneaking around. And I told my aunt, I said, I see somebody's feet sneaking around the house on that side. So we hurry up and pull up our pants and everything. And he comes there and he says, I saw what you were doing. And instead of him just saying, look, I saw what you were doing, it was wrong, I'm going to tell your parents, he tells us that he wants us to do it again pull our pants back down, or he will tell our parents, you know. And even as a child, I understood that that's wrong. You're not going to make me, you know, do more wrong for you to see. And you won't tell our parents? No, I prefer you tell our parents, you know.
You know what's
My
interesting
auntie,
about that? I'm sorry, I have to interrupt. You know what's interesting about that is that is almost for girls, when they get to that particular age, they become a massive exploding battery of metaphysical energy too. And in the case, when we finally do the recording for the Enfield haunting, Janet, oh, my brain's dead. Janet Hodgson, she and her sister both reached that age together. Margaret slightly before her, she's the older daughter, and then Janet just behind her. And when they were questioning the ghost, I shouldn't say the poltergeist, his name is Bill. They were asking him, it's like, why is it you keep on messing with Janet? And he actually, there's recordings Maurice Gross put online, and people have moved to other. I'm going to link it when we do that one. That says he can get more energy out of her. He's able to easily get energy out of her, less so from Margaret. And Maurice says, well, why don't you get it from us? He says, because it's so much easier from them. This is the same kind of thing. They're looking for, even in the real world, living people are looking for an easy mark, like this guy was doing to you guys, you know, because he wanted to see your pubic hair. It's the same kind of thing, but in a metaphysical way. The kids are just as vulnerable. And so it's much easier to protect them against the physical thing. You're just diligent with making sure that the kids know right from wrong. But with the kids, when they start getting their energy taken from them, you actually have to be either gifted or find someone who can help to contain this. And Janet didn't know how to contain it, nor did Margaret, and nobody tried to from the Society for Cyclical Research. So they ended up being burnouts. And Joel knows what that means. But Joel's quiet now.
No, I'm sorry. Did you want me to fill in for that?
Yes.
So, I missed my cue. Can we restart that one over?
Oh, we're still on live, not Memorex.
Damn it. So basically, how can I explain burnout? That's a hard one to explain. So I don't even know where to begin to explain that one.
I guess the best way to do it is to try and lean into some of the game terms, and then people just can hate us later.
So like, I guess a burnout is like somebody who does so much, builds up so much bad karma that their gifts just kind of stop working for them normally. So they have to find ways to be able to operate again. So and not only that, but like if you get into a habit, like not even a good habit, if you start to use substances to help you get to that state easier, where you can begin to influence your reality, your surroundings, your energy, and other energies. After a while, you get used to it. It's like a crutch, and then you cannot do it any other way. But after a while, your body and your system builds up like a resistance to it, and then you start to notice that it starts to wane again, and then you have to do more things in order to be able to perform. And it's never good. And it's frustrating. It leads to like it's a dark path.
And in the case of the Hodgsons, they weren't on that path themselves. The poltergeist just knew that it could siphon off the energy, and if it kept them vulnerable and afraid and anxious, that it could keep on siphoning the energy out. Like a vampire would be kind of bloated of an idea, but more like I guess the best way to think about it would be like somebody who's constantly siphoning power off your house, but you don't know that they're siphoning power from your house until you get the electrical bill, and then eventually it gets shut off. In the case of like a person, the pathways that allow you to be able to maintain this energy can, if they're drained too readily and used too continuously, too hard, especially when they're revving up to a high level on their own in the beginning, then the circuits in your system scorch out. And so your ability to access it gets less and less as the resistance builds up, as the circuits die more and more and more. If you want to go with an electronic version. And so that's what the poltergeist did. It just literally siphoned them dry. And then the only thing that Janet can do now is she can passively sense when ghosts are around. And she's admitted this in interviews as recent as 2012. But the rest of her abilities gone. Her sister Margaret, if she was going to manifest anything, it was cooked out of her. And so this is a good example. Sorry, go ahead, Sonia.
It's like permanently burning out a fuse, then, sort of thing. Like we have like little fuses to like if we get a power surge, it blows that instead of the whole actual system.
Well, in this case, it wouldn't be the fuse that gets the fuse is actually designed to pop out. In this case, it's the entire system gets burned.
Yeah, it's like if you don't have that in place, like your whole computer just gets deep fried.
Right. Yeah. And so you end up with a nice, expensive paperweight. And that can happen to people as well. If you and that's why keeping the kids safe is also a good idea, and going to people who are experts like ourselves that can help to contain, protect, or teach the child how to focus, especially when you're dealing with someone like Aisha was dealing with, that she welcomed into her house that decided to go, I hate you, I want you to die, and left a metaphysical goat to screw with her house that stood up. Aisha, I'm curious, when Jemima said she was messing up the house, what was going on? Because she said she goes, it's messing up my house and dirtying everything.
I don't know. All I know is the house was more dirty than I'm used to it being. You know, when I wake up each morning, each time this girl stayed here, and I just figured it's because the kids stayed up all night playing in their room and just put stuff all over the place and wouldn't move it. Each time I would tell the children, look, I don't mind you taking your toys out, but either put them back or push them to the side where I can at least pass through here. You know, because we have one of those in New Orleans, they do the shotgun house thing. So you actually have to walk through each room. You know, it's not like each room has a door closed to it and they can just keep their trash in their room and you can walk around. But every morning it was more dirty than I've ever seen. I was like, God, you guys didn't even think to move all this stuff every morning. We moved it. Well, and I'm thinking that they meant they moved one thing and that's it, you know, so they may have moved it in the middle of the night. The goat put it back. I don't know. All I know is every morning it was extra dirty.
And when it was gone, did that stop?
Yeah.
See, this thing had enough power to actually physically throw things around. That is a wild talent of very scary proportions. And you said the girl was about 11?
Yes.
Yeah, so she was starting her menses just like the Hodgson girls. So yeah, it's definitely important to keep the kids safe. And if you don't know how, if the kids start to have issues like this, call on somebody. Hell, call on us. I know there's a really low chance that people are gonna see that gonna come to us. We only have 101 subscribers, but folks, if you know of some family that has this is happening, or somebody divulges this to you, it's like, oh, my children or my nephews or my nieces, and I know it's hard to start the conversation because then they'll look at you like you're the weirdest person they've ever seen and you're deranged and crazy. But you know what? That's a child's life there. And I promise you, that kid will love you forever for the help that you've given them. Because I know what my life was like when I was stripped of help. And Joel was never stripped of his assistance, and his kids never, and my children never. And they are well-adjusted, happy, good kids that are dealing with a little extra slice of life that most people don't. And we've done our best to make it as normal as possible, because it is normal. It really isn't that far off the beam. Keeping them protected from the mugger down the street or the child molester is not your only worry. You do want to worry about the metaphysical things, that if the kids can see them and you can't, at the very least, let Aisha's example be a great one. She couldn't see it, but she went in there swinging with a broom. By God, let me tell you, that definitely makes a difference. Even if you can't see it, if you put your heart and your love into it because you love your child, and you pick up a piece of wood and you start swinging at that ghost, trust me, it'll hit, and they will feel it. It's not like hitting a piece of meat. It goes right through them, and it cuts them right to the core. Put all of your will and all of your love into it. Get a broom, swing for the fences. I don't care what you do. Get a butcher's knife, carve that thing up. If you believe in guns, unload the gun and fire it dry at it. It as long as you believe that it's meant to hurt the ghost, it'll do it. I gave this advice to a lot of people, and trust me, they're always surprised it functions, because your will is your weapon. Your will is your weapon that keeps your children safe. And with that, I'm going to end the show. Thank you very much. Sorry, go ahead, Sonia.
Well, I've just said you've just reminded me of something I did about, well, me and Paul did about, Jasmine was about...
Lean into the mic, hon. It's hard to hear you.
So, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
My oldest niece, my sister moved into this flat, and she was about, I want to say 3, maybe 4. It was just before she started primary school, and she kept on waking up, every night on the dot, complaining of like her bed was facing the window, but she didn't say she could see somebody in the window. It was next to the window. And my sister was complaining and the social doctors and everybody was like, oh, just let her cry it out, me and my dad going, you've got to do something. She's not saying it's in the window, she's not seeing the trees, it's next to the window, she's doing something. So Paul has these dragons, what you hang off the ceiling. So we got the pretty pink one, she's a girl, and we've me and my dad, well, mostly my dad, put energy into it, and then we gave it to her to put in a room, telling her that it was gonna help this face leave her alone. And the night we put it up, nothing, and she slept well since. It's she had no complaints, no face, no nothing. So yeah, still in her. She takes it with, when she moved, she took it with her to put it in her bedroom next to the window so it could look after her.
And perfect example. So if you like what you see here, if you like what we do here, please like, comment, subscribe. And when I say comment, I mean comment, not try and start a troll fight. I just delete those. We like critiques, not people going, it's clickbait, just because you can't read. So real actual criticism, we're all open to that. Discussions as well. If you have any questions, if you have anything that you need us to help you with, please feel free to contact us. The email is, all you got to do is click my profile, and you'll be able to find it, and it goes directly to me, and I can get the questions to any of a number of people. We have folks all over the United States, and the net is expanding. We have a person who does a radio show that we're regularly on, and we have folks as far away as Ohio, New Orleans. We've got people in the UK, California, and Joe and I can actually, it's not called bilocate. There's proper terms for this stuff. I'm going to have to start writing it down so we can actually help you if you need help in a given area. Just ask Aisha. She's in New Orleans and can easily reach that when she has troubles. And we're here to help. So stay blessed until next we meet. And good.